Welcome to Bible Facts. In today's video, we're exploring one of the most mysterious books ever associated with the Bible, the Book of Enoch. Why was it removed? What secrets does it hold? If you're fascinated by biblical history and the hidden stories of ancient scriptures, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Let's dive in. The Book of Enoch is one of the most debated and discussed texts in biblical history. Written around the 3rd century BCE, it's attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. Now, Enoch is briefly mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 5 verse 24, where it says he walked with God and then he was no more because God took him away. But beyond that, his story fades into mystery. The Book of Enoch, however, provides a detailed account of his visions, journeys, and revelations, some of which describe events from the creation of the world to the final judgment. The book is divided into multiple sections, including the Book of Watchers, which tells the story of angels descending to earth, and the Book of Parables, which discusses a messianic figure. This is where the intrigue deepens because some of these themes sound remarkably familiar, almost like they echo concepts found in the New Testament. But here's the catch: the Book of Enoch didn't make it into the final version of the Bible. So, why was the Book of Enoch excluded from the Bible? Let's break this down. First, we have to remember that the process of canonizing the Bible, deciding which books were considered inspired and authoritative, wasn't done overnight. It took centuries of debate among early church leaders. By the time the final canon of the Bible was established, various councils like the Council of Laodicea in 363 AD had decided on which texts would be part of the Old and New Testaments. The Book of Enoch was excluded, primarily for a few reasons. One reason was that the book was not widely accepted by the Jewish community at large. Though it was popular among certain Jewish sects, especially the Essenes who lived near the Dead Sea, think Dead Sea Scrolls, mainstream Jewish scholars were skeptical. Because of this, when early Christians began forming their canon, they didn't see it as essential. Another major factor was that the contents of the Book of Enoch were seen as controversial. The vivid descriptions of angels, fallen ones, and divine judgment were viewed as too speculative and apocalyptic. At a time when the church wanted to solidify its doctrine, the inclusion of such mystical elements could have raised theological questions they weren't ready to answer. After all, maintaining consistency in the teachings was key. But there's more to the story: influence and later rejection. Even though it was excluded from the Bible, the Book of Enoch had a major influence on early Christian thought. Some scholars even argue that the New Testament writers were familiar with it. Take, for example, the Book of Jude, which directly quotes from the Book of Enoch in Jude 1 verses 14 to 15. The passage talks about the Lord coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to judge the ungodly. This isn't a coincidence. It shows that the Book of Enoch was circulating and respected, at least by some early Christians. Furthermore, early church fathers like Tertullian and Origen referenced the Book of Enoch, showing that it wasn't entirely disregarded in the early Christian world. But as the centuries passed, the church moved toward a more unified theological stance, which meant some books, like Enoch, had to be sidelined. By the 4th century, the book began to fade into obscurity, especially in the Western Church. It was removed from circulation, not because it was heretical, but because it wasn't consistent with the broader narrative the Church was constructing. Rediscovery and modern impact. The Book of Enoch remained largely forgotten until the 18th century, when explorers discovered a complete version in Ethiopia. This version had been preserved by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which interestingly enough still considers it part of their biblical canon to this day. The rediscovery of the Book of Enoch sparked new interest, especially among scholars and biblical historians. In the 20th century, fragments of it were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, solidifying its historical significance. Today, the book is studied not just for its religious content, but for its cultural and historical value. It provides insight into what people believed about the supernatural world during the time of its writing. So, should it have been removed? Now, let's address the big question. Should the Book of Enoch have been removed from the Bible? That's a question that sparked debate among theologians and biblical scholars. On one hand, it's a fascinating and rich text filled with insight into ancient beliefs about angels, the afterlife, and divine judgment. On the other hand, its mystical and apocalyptic tone didn't fit the theological narrative the early church wanted to convey. Ultimately, the Book of Enoch challenges us to think critically about what we consider inspired scripture and how decisions were made to include or exclude certain texts. While it didn't make it into the final canon, its influence remains undeniable, and its mysteries continue to captivate the imaginations of those who read it today. Conclusion. And there you have it, some of the reasons why the Book of Enoch was removed from the Bible. If you enjoyed this exploration into biblical mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Bible Facts, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Remember, as always, do the right things for the right reasons. Stay blessed.